Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Parenting in the Far North. I'm your host, Erin Bureau. So today's guest is Sara Penisten-Turcic. She is a registered nurse and has worked for Providence, Alaska Medical Center for 31 years. As a bedside level 3 NICU nurse for 14 years, Sara was certified as a child passenger safety technician in 1998. And in 2006, she became the Safe Kids Alaska State Coalition Coordinator and a child passenger safety instructor. And with summer approaching, there's no better time to make sure that our youngest Alaskans are safe out there. Please welcome to the podcast, Sara. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. It's
Yeah,
great
I
to
know.
be here.
We are normally interviewing on, short sound bites on TV, so this is really great to be able to chat with you kind of in an in-depth format because you always have so much to say. But before we get into some of the child safety topics, I want our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So I know you have a lot of hats you wear. I was going to let you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm an Alaskan girl. I've lived here since I was 5, which is a very long time ago. And I only live in states that rhyme. I've lived in Nebraska and Alaska. That's it.
I like that.
And actually, interestingly, I think it's interesting. All of my education, school-wise, has been in Alaska. I kindergarten through senior in high school at Anchorage School District, and then went to UAF for 2.5 years, and then transferred to UAA to finish my nursing degree. So it's exciting to have been in some different parts of the state, but I'm Alaska kind of educated, and this has been where my career is. Most of my family's here, extended family as well, so it's great, and this is home.
Yeah, no, I love that through and through. So I know you were a nurse, you worked in the NICU, so how did that translate into you working with Safe Kids Alaska?
Well, interestingly, in our NICU at Providence, we, for years and years and years, more than 30, we've had a standard of practice where we make sure babies are secure in their car seats before they go home. And finally, in 1997, a national certification and curriculum came about, and our first course in Anchorage was held in 1998. And I took that course. It was actually held at Providence, and several of us became certified as child passenger safety technicians, and it just piqued an interest for me. I had had several patients that were challenging because they're small, tiny little people, trying to secure them in the car seats that were available on the market in the 1990s. And car seats have evolved and changed, and I'm thrilled to say improved exponentially over all these years. So the safety of our little ones in the car is so much better than it was back in the dark ages.
Yeah, they're like car seats.
I know, really. I recall taking my baby sister home from Providence when she was born, and we took her home in our motorhome, and we had there was some sort of like plastic seat, but it wasn't really a car seat.
Right.
They weren't on the market yet at that time. So it's great to see that that's evolved and has changed, and that really is what piqued my interest, was my patients. I wasn't a mother yet. I didn't have any kids of my own. In fact, I didn't even have nieces and nephews yet. So it was really my little patients that I had, a sense of responsibility for, to make sure they were going home safe.
I love that, which is one of the topics, which we'll start there with child safety and the car seats. What you said they've evolved, even nowadays in 2024. What is your main thing for new parents and trying to find because as becoming a new parent, like I got to get the perfect one. Like, what does that look like?
We get asked a lot, what is the best car seat? And the answer to that is the best car seat is the one that fits your child. It fits your vehicle, and you know how to use it correctly every single time your child travels with you. And you can have a car seat that I'll say is $80, or you can have a car seat that's $480. But using it correctly is really the key to your child's safety. Higher price points are going to have different features, and they all utilize the same crash testing. But really the key is, does it fit your child? Does it fit your vehicle? And do you know how to use it correctly for your kiddo? And that's why we do offer all throughout the community car seat checkups. We have an amazing partnership in Anchorage with the Anchorage Fire Department. People can call their car seat appointment phone line and set up a private appointment. We have car seat checks throughout the community year-round.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, we're very grateful to some of our program partners who let us use their indoor heated garage spaces. And we have several events actually coming up just in the next few weeks.
Okay. So they just need to keep it to where you guys on social media, Save Kids, to find out where those places and locations are?
Yes, and we have a website.
Okay.
It's www.carseatsak.org, and there is an
Okay.
event calendar on that. And there are events going on statewide because we have our partner programs all throughout the state. So and our services are free if folks ever wonder about that. We're not charging. And we want to make sure that folks are using their car seats correctly because our data from Alaska from 2023, so this is last year's data, of all of our partners around the state who checked car seats, close to 1,500 car seats, and these are the families that willingly came and had their car seats checked, and 85% of them were being misused in some way.
85%.
85%.
Wow.
And that's not intentional in any way.
What is it? I mean, kids are growing. I know I took advantage of going to the fire station and making sure, and they showed me, and I was like, okay, good, great. And, a lot of parents too thinking they're so tiny and fragile.
Sometimes it's the car seat is not installed correctly in the vehicle, whether it's with the seatbelt or the lower anchors. We find a lot of times those top tethers are not being used for forward-facing seats. That's the strap kind of back behind the kiddo's head.
That clips on.
Yes. And sometimes we do discover car seats that are expired, or maybe they've had a recall and shouldn't be in use anymore, and families just don't know. Another area that we always ask about is, were you the original owner of this car seat, or was it passed on to you from someone you knew, or was it from an unknown source, maybe a yard sale, an online posting of some sort? In those cases, we can't really be sure that that car seat hasn't already done its job and helped a child survive a crash. So, used car seats can be a little questionable if you don't know the history. If I was passing on a car seat to you and I had it for a few months because my niece was visiting, we'd know the history. But if it's an unknown history, it kind of gives us the big question mark. Did it already do its job? You don't want to wear a motorcycle helmet that's been through a crash. It did its job. Same with a car seat. When they've been in a serious collision, they've already done their job. And they can be retired respectfully, and then they need to be replaced.
So, and it's very quick and easy to go. Just get it checked out by one of those places and locations that you were mentioning. So if you're listening, just ride on over there and they will help you out. Let's also go to bike helmet safety. This is something we've talked about a couple years in the past. That's another one where making sure that you're getting the kiddos fitted correctly. And we're getting into summer. My daughter's already out on her bike. Get your helmet on. So, and they're growing, so I need to take my own advice and make sure the helmet's still working for her.
Yeah, our bike helmet program, we actually started, it's called Anchorage Bike Helmet Project. We started that in the summer of 2006. And at that time, Providence committed to providing free bike helmets to the Anchorage community for kids age 16 and under for 3 years. Well, it's been how many now? 23 years?
Yeah.
When was 2006? It was a long time ago. So we have actually been able to sustain funding through lots of different sources, grants and donor dollars we're so grateful for. And our continuing partner in that program is also the Anchorage Fire Department. And as of this week, I have been able to restock all the fire departments. So they do have bicycle helmets.
Okay.
And kids grow over the winter. And sometimes it's like, where did that bike helmet go? I knew we had it somewhere, and it might be under our almost 11 feet of snow outside. Who knows? And bike helmets have a lifespan as well.
Okay.
If they're still fitting, their lifespan is about 5 years because they're styrofoam components, and those start to degrade ever so slightly, and the styrofoam becomes more stiff, and it won't absorb crash force in the same way. So 5 years, and then it's time to replace that helmet if it survives that long. In fact, that reminds me.
Kids, they wear and tear on those.
I know, and
helmets.
I'm thinking I better check my own helmet. And
adults too,
yes, adults too, because we have to lead by example. And what I ask parents a lot when I see them at our bike helmet events, and they say, "Oh, I don't need a helmet," and I ask them, "Well, do you ride a bike?" And they might say yes. And I say, "Well, you have a brain too. We have to protect all of our brains." Because if you have a traumatic brain injury, you can't care for your kids. So
And setting the example.
right. It really is, everybody in the family needs to be protected. There is, kind of nothing more devastating than a previously perfectly healthy child who then has a traumatic brain injury on a recreational bike ride and might have lifelong effects. So, we hope that we're making bike helmets available to those families who can't obtain them otherwise. And our caveat, folks do need to know that the kiddos really have to be present. I tell people your bike helmet is like your shoes. Everybody needs their own size. And bike helmets are different sizes. So I could have, 4 8-year-olds, and they all have different heads. So we do have to size them specifically and make sure that they're adjusted correctly for the kiddo and secure on their heads in order to do their job.
Yeah, and it's not wearing them like cool, like kind of tilted back. I know that's one thing that stuck out. Every time we do the stories, it needs to be down in front,
down over those
protecting.
Eyebrows. Yes, and just a little few details about the fire department partnership. Helmets are available currently at all 13 Anchorage Fire Department stations. And we ask that folks have your kids with you. You don't have to call ahead or make an appointment. You can stop in 7 days a week. I always say 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And if nobody's at the station, it's because they're responding to an emergency. And they'll be back, but they're doing their job. And so we ask everybody just to have patience because they are responding to other community members who need them in that moment.
Yeah.
And we have some different bike helmet events coming up. One of them is we're partnering with the municipality, Parks and Rec, and with Anchorage Public Health. It's Saturday, May 11th.
Okay.
At Chance New Muldoon Park, and 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Community Bike Rodeo. You can pre-register online. I think you go to parksandrec.org to find that.
Okay.
But a fun, big event, lots of different agencies involved. Safe Kids will be there. We'll be fitting bike helmets, and several other agencies are there. They help kids check out safety on their bikes, bring their helmets. And it's a fun event. It's a good time.
Right, May 11th. We'll have to mark that on your calendars if you're listening.
Yes.
Another big thing, kids like riding their bikes. Alaska in the summers, we're big recreational on water and water safety and life jackets. And speak a little bit about that. What do you guys see?
Well, Alaska, sadly, we tend to lead the nation. I think our most recent information that was just released earlier this year was that Alaska and Hawaii are leading the nation in unintentional open water drowning. And we have more coastline, as we know, and more lakes than any other state.
Right. Yes.
And so our opportunities to play in water are vast. We do have around the state the Kids Don't Float life jacket loaner stations at most of our waterfronts. And I'm thrilled to say that Safe Kids Kenai Peninsula was a founding partner in that program down in Homer all those years ago. And it has just spread throughout the state. There are more than 600 Kids Don't Float stations around the state of Alaska.
Nice.
Here in the municipality of Anchorage, our Parks and Rec maintains the Anchorage-based sites. And I'm sure they're going to be restocking those as soon as they can get to all of them. We still have some snow in the way.
Yeah, a little bit. It's got a little bit more time to melt, but it's getting there.
It is. And it's right now, folks, please don't go out on the lakes and ponds in the area. It is meltdown time.
Yeah.
But we also need to be aware, again, adults have to use their life jackets as well. We really, really, really lead the nation in adult males who are out on recreational boating having drowning accidents, and it's so preventable. And we need those dads, and we need those husbands, and we need those hardworking men, and we need all of our citizens safe and alive. It's hard to read those news stories in the summer where someone is missing on the water, and very valuable to make sure everyone's got life jackets that fit. Again, life jackets are sized, and there's tons of sizing guides online. Folks can find that information really easily, but the life jacket needs to fit the person wearing it.
And there's the theme here, the sizing to the car seats, to the bike helmets, to the life jackets. You can't just kind of throw on any one. You need to make sure it's fitting properly for you.
It's the right item so it can do its job. Yeah, absolutely.
Snow melting, we were talking about kids are back playing in the yard. Soon we'll be going out to the parks.
Sure.
that slide you've had for 5, 6, 7 years, meltdown, come back, or whether it's been, like you said, stuffed into the garage or crawl space. That's an important safety component too, checking toys for kiddos or maybe sharp edges and things like that. What do you guys see with that?
Absolutely. And, we've had such a tremendous snowfall this past winter, almost 11 feet officially. And I've been watching the meteorologist reports here at KTUU.
Yes, almost.
Almost 11 feet. And that snow load and that weight and the cold all have effects on materials, whether they be plastic, whether they be metals, fabrics. So yard toys and items that have been outdoors exposed to those elements all throughout the winter may not be in the same state of repair as they were in the autumn before we had all that snow. As you said, swing sets, slides, trampolines, if you have one of those in your yard, even your bike helmets, balls, hockey sticks, bats, wiffle balls, all those kinds of things. They really need a once-over checkout to make sure they're still safe and usable and not cracked, broken, have sharp edges. Even, the small plastic picnic tables and little lawn chairs that we have for little ones, those can break and crack and be dangerous as well.
Yeah.
And that temperature extremes and the snow load really, really do put some wear and tear on our outdoor equipment.
And I would say, too, maybe the playgrounds, I know sometimes when it's hot, you go down some of those slides and that equipment, and you got to be careful.
They are
on that
warm,
too.
yes.
Living here in Alaska, and for you doing this for as long as you have, what do you see the most with child safety as far as preventable accidents are concerned? Is it just in general? Is it the bike safety? Is it water safety, car seat? What do you?
You know what our
kinda
trauma
see?
center data shows us is that motor vehicle crashes are a significant contributor to childhood injury. And so that's why we try to keep these car seat programs vibrant and available throughout the state. It's interesting because our state doesn't have necessarily a lot of roadway.
Yeah.
But we have long roadway and people travel long distances on them. So for kiddos, we do see the car seat or vehicle injuries. Of course, we are seeing things among the teens related to sometimes substance abuse and those types of things that then lead to poor choices and injuries, which is always heartbreaking. But for the young ones, we're looking really at vehicle safety, again, traumatic brain injury prevention, and we really look at safe sleep for our younger kids age 2 and under. Because sudden infant death syndrome, unexplained death syndromes, those are also contributors to our injury and death statistics. And a lot of times those are preventable if it's a safe sleep environment. So we do try to focus a lot of education on safe sleep for infants and younger toddlers.
If there's families out there wanting to get more information about any of these topics on child safety that you covered, what's the best way to direct them? Where can they go check out?
Lots of resources online at safekids.org. Invite anyone to visit that site and utilize all those resources. There are printable items, downloadable items, video snippets, just all kinds of information, because every injury we can prevent is hopefully a healthy life moving forward. And that's our goal. We never want to have a child hospitalized for something that was preventable. It's just the hardest thing.
Yeah, you've worked in it. I'm sure you've seen it. Well, as we end the podcast here, I'll give you the final thought, final word, anything else you'd like to mention or add that I didn't ask or that you wanted to touch on or expound upon.
I just, our theme for Safe Kids Month is the month of May, and our theme this year is spring into summer safely. And, it seems like a lot of little checklist tasks for folks to check their outdoor play equipment, make sure they've got the bike helmet that fits the child. Does their life jacket fit? Are we going to the open water? Is your car seat secure? And it is a time investment, we know, and it's, takes focus and energy to arrange those things, but we really want to make our services available and just keep our Alaskan kids healthy and active so they can enjoy this amazing state that we live in.
All right. Well, Sara, great advice, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yes, and thank you all for listening to another episode of Parenting in the Far North. And remember, don't forget to like and subscribe.